What are we talking about?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Oh, hey, welcome to Matt and Andrew Make a Podcast.
I'm Matt.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so last episode at the end we were talking about my brother was a magician and he went to Vegas to I don't know if a conference is the right word. It's like some kind of class training thing.
Yeah.
Seminar or something.
Seminar, there you go.
It's probably a magic seminar. One of the guys there was also an aspiring magician. My brother was basically like where you're at in comedy is where he was in magic. Like he was doing good. He made really good money doing magic. He just wasn't.
Oh, so he's further along than me.
Well, okay.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I'm just kidding.
He was doing good.
Yeah.
He was doing good. Long story short, he met one of the guys from The Sandlot.
Okay.
In Vegas. So my brother comes back from this thing in Vegas. Now, keep in mind, we're the most Christian family in the entire universe. Mm-hmm. My brother says one of his friends got a prostitute, and the description he had, the wording he used is one of the few words that will get you in trouble on YouTube.
Okay.
So I'm going to say he said it felt like the prostitute was very forceful and didn't give him a choice.
Yeah.
And it took like literal seconds. Like the prostitute was like, hey, it's $60. Have a good day.
Wow.
I was like, okay. Like he just laid on the bed. That's what happened. Met the dude, one of the dudes from The Sandlot. We had to figure it out later. All kinds of crazy stuff happened. And then I started piecing it together and I was like, I think my brother might have went to Vegas and had a really wild week and told me what all his friends told him. I don't think he got a hooker, but a lot of crazy shit happened out there. And I think, you know the Rumspringa thing Amish people do? Mm-hmm. I think this was my brother's Rumspringa. I think he had a good time.
Yeah.
But he worked at I can't remember where it was, but he drove like an hour there and an hour back or further to work at a steakhouse called Boudreaux's. Have you heard of that? Mm-mm. Somewhere in Oklahoma, it's apparently a nice steakhouse. He'd go do magic every weekend, like I think Friday and Saturday night or just Friday night, I can't remember. But it paid well. Like he'd make really good money. And at that time, girls really liked him. He has blue eyes and he was doing magic and it wasn't nerdy somehow. And he was just fucking, they were slingshot and poontang at him for like a couple years. And then there's a point in your magic career where it's no longer like, oh, cool, he's a magician. It's like, oh, he's a magician. And that doesn't happen with most things. Like magic's weird. Like magic and balloon animals, if you're an old man doing it, it's kind of sad. Unless you're like David Blaine or something, then it's not sad, obviously. Why? And also, is comedy that way? We just don't see it?
I think so, for the same reason. I think if you're not, I think magic hits that point when you stop evolving.
Okay.
When you stop, like if you're just, I know comedians now that are older than me, been doing it for a long time, but they're doing the exact same thing they've done the entire time. And now it's just kind of like they're just doing it because that's what they know to do.
Right, it's just familiar.
Magician, same way. Like, hey, I've got these same tricks. These are the ones I've been doing. This is what I do. Like, this is what I do now because this is just what I know to do. They're not trying to get bigger and better.
Right, but he was doing bigger and better things constantly. I was meaning, like, it seems like there's an age where, like, you're like 17 and you're really good at magic, it's impressive. Mm-hmm. You're 25, it's like, come on, dude, get a real job. But he was getting paid really good money. He worked at Atlanta Bread Company doing it too. And, like, I don't know what the numbers were. I could have told you back then probably. I think he told me. But I was doing balloon animals at Chili's making $200 to $400 a night at the age of 13. Like 12 and 13, a good night was 4, a bad night was 2. I was doing 2 nights a week and airbrushing at the same time. I know for sure he was making way more than I was. So back then,
yeah,
like even if you're 25, fucking $800 a week's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think he was making more like $1,800 a week. So it's just weird, like there's like a stigma around magic where people make it sound like it's like, God, I shouldn't eat Taco Bell. Something's going on in there. It seems like there's a stigma with magic where it's kind of like, even if you're good at it and you're making good money, if you're not famous, it's fucking dumb. Or if somebody's a hustling ass comedian, and they're like, if you know a comedian that nobody knew their name except comedy club owners, but they were the best feature ever and they were reliable and they got paid fucking $500 a night no matter where they went. Mm-hmm. you'd be like, that's way better than fucking working as a cashier.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. But I think with stuff like Magic, we need fame or we need you to quit, like as a society.
Yeah.
But I can't figure out why Magic, it does seem more extreme. I think you're right about comedy, though. I think, it's like, seeing a guy that's been doing the same exact set for 25 years, you're like, did you just make a JFK reference? Like a current one? You should probably rewrite that. Like, well, I heard yesterday our president got shot in a Lincoln and thought, didn't Lincoln get shot? Weird. Like, that would not be fun to watch.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know. Greg Fitzsimmons, for some reason, I just really like him. He has a joke he's been doing for a long time because I saw it on a TV show and then I saw it live. And the TV show's like 8 years old. And he's talked about that. He's like, some jokes I just won't kill, but he's just filming a special. He said, now it's an all-new act. Do you think, in a lot of those cases, they go, it's all new, and they go, I just really missed that joke, and bring one back, and then it makes their act seem stale? To, like, people that are following it, not obviously.
I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know. Because I hate to, like, I mean, those guys, I mean, Greg Fitzsimmons, I'd love to have his career.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, obviously, I'd love to have his
Right.
career. But to me, Jerry Seinfeld, it doesn't even matter if he's wrote new jokes. It's the same comedy.
Yeah. But he doesn't, he admittedly is not
Yeah,
into writing new jokes.
he changes out 10 to 15% of his act every time he starts a new tour.
And that's like, I think to some extent, if you can build your shit around that and make that work, that's great. But like, who is it that there was somebody, damn, that's loud.
It doesn't sound like they're going anywhere. It sounds like they're just outside, just like,
I wonder if they're in like, if they're in fifth gear, but that's how they started, so it's just accelerating really slow and they're revved to fucking like 9,000 RPM. Just, ah. No, like somebody mentioned on a podcast, if they do a joke from like 2 or 3 years ago, now they're saying this is new with YouTube and stuff. It's somebody like Mark Norman, like somebody really current. If they do an hour and they have one joke they did 3 years ago, at least one person comes up to him after and goes, I thought you were going to do all new stuff. Like, I literally just did one new joke, or one old joke. Everything else was new. Literally nothing on this entire 45-minute set has ever been on the internet except that joke. And that joke is 35 seconds. To them, to some people, that taints the whole thing. I don't think that affects 99.9% of people watching. And I would go further and say, especially after doing comedy for a little while, if I recognize a joke and I know I feel like I'm in on something. If I go, oh, I know this one.
yeah,
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's the whole act, it's not. Like, if I know the punchline to everything, that's dumb. But, like, I don't remember the jokes as thoroughly as I think I do. Like, I always go, like, we've talked about it a bunch. I'm always worried people are going to be like, oh, that's the same joke again. Because it's a lot of the same people here.
yeah,
I shouldn't worry about that at all, because when I listen to other people's jokes, I don't remember exactly how they end.
right.
I just remember, like, I remember yours, but, like, I could probably quote and do pretty close to nailing 5 or 6 of your jokes, 3 or 4 of them Wayne's, and 3 or 4 of Marty's. Half of Brandon's. Everybody else, I couldn't fucking tell you how. And I'm paying attention. I just couldn't tell you how the joke ends, so it's still going to surprise me.
yeah.
So I don't know why we even think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
I do think, like, in this situation, like here, not according to the last show that happened here, because it was such a new group of people.
Meaning they were all black.
Yes.
I didn't even realize how heavy white our crowds were until we had a black crowd. I was like, damn.
Yeah. But I think, same thing is like when I'm talking to Wayne and we're talking about booking shows, he goes, why don't we go back to that place? I'm like, well, we were just there not too long ago.
Right.
We can't take the same act back to the same place.
Yeah, like
too
3 months
close.
later.
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, I don't think, and I think there's even some comics that have, it's the debate of, which I can't remember who I watched having this debate of, if you go to see a band, do you want to hear the whole new album or you want to hear the greatest hits?
I like a mix, which I think is good for comedy too.
Right.
When you put in the comedy thing, I agree, a mix. When I see a band, if I don't see a single new song, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
When I see a comic, if I know the punchline to every joke, I feel like I was duped. Like I go, why did I
Right.
pay for this? So like if you're touring, let's say you're a big name and you're doing theaters and you're doing the same cities, like every year you go to each major city and that's you have this route. I would assume you need to switch out half of it, but like Theo Von was a perfect example of a person where I thought that him saying a joke I'd heard before would be a bad thing and it was a good thing. It's like, not only was it one of the greatest hits, but I was like, how did I not fucking remember that? And it's because his delivery is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
But like,
I bet he never says the same. I bet he never says something the same way twice either.
right.
I bet it's always a little bit.
I would say for the most part, the longer ones, but like, my cousin got bit by a gay dude, so we'll see. I don't think there's a lot of ways that changes.
Right.
Like
yeah.
there's like, the reason it's so funny is the punchline is vague. But with most of his stuff, I think you're right. And I was talking to my client that was getting the portrait of him today. I don't think he has a set list. I don't think he goes, this is my set.
Right.
I think he goes, I have so much material, I'm going to run what I like to run. I have my opener, I have my closer, and I have these three I definitely want to get out there today. Which that's his set list. I think that makes up 12 minutes of his fucking 45 minutes to an hour. Mm-hmm. Also, if you see him before a show with the stages, the shots from the backstage area, like where he's walking around on stage, it's behind him, his clock starts at 100. I don't know what I would assume the whole show, he wants to know when 100 is so he can go, okay, I have 10 minutes left before I need to get out of here, but I can. I've done the 90, so I'm at my contract, like, because they probably offer a 90-minute show, including openers, and he does about 45. But I thought it was really interesting that it says 100 like I see it all the time. Like he'll post a picture and it'll say 100 and then he'll post a picture after and it'll say random numbers. But he has a clock just like that one that I just noticed after I bought that. I was like, oh, good choice.
Yeah.
Also, listening to a podcast today, they were talking about how they shoot specials. You know how I said I thought a lot of guys were getting very egotistical because their crowd shots include them? Mm-hmm. Like I forgot who it was that I said that about, but I was like, it seems like he needed to be in every shot. Like they couldn't have one where it's not him. It turns out they do that so they can dub in later. Like let's say I fuck up a joke. Let's say I'm filming a special and I say, so I was trying to make my wife a mixed, oh no. Let me start that over. I was trying to whatever, and they don't get it. They don't get it better on one show than the other. It just somehow got fucked up. From behind me, I can literally do a voiceover in a studio, and they can dub it without having to match my lips. I was like, I would have never thought they'd do that,
Right.
but they do. Like this guy was talking about how he directs, edits, and produces things, and I wish I could remember who it was, but he said if you shoot from behind the comic, you have a crowd shot with the comic in it, and you can cut to their face and say, like, let's say I flubbed the setup, but I nailed the punchline. Then I go in and edit it, and you cut to my face when I say the punchline.
Yeah.
So when you see all these creative shots where you go, oh, I think I know why they made this decision, sometimes it's just necessary because the joke got fucked up.
Right.
Or the joke just didn't land. So, like, you would think they would cut it, but then they go, well, we'll just tell that joke again and fucking push the fucking laugh button from that one. And it's like, yeah, it takes some of the magic out, but the way I see that is if you watch something on Netflix and everybody goes, oh man, I love stand-up comedy. And I go, oh, well, who have you seen? And they go, oh, I just watched these guys on Netflix and YouTube. I'm like, oh, you haven't even seen stand-up comedy then. To me, that's like,
Right.
that's like saying I love sex. Who do you have sex with? Pornhub.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it live and you like it? Because I actually don't like it that much when it's not live. Like, I like it. It's better than no comedy at all.
Yeah. At this point where we're at now, when we're watching it on TV,
You're just analyzing it.
yeah, we're like, hey, how many different camera angles are they using? What kind of lighting do you think they have? Can you see their notes?
Yeah.
Which is another one I saw today, and I don't remember who it was.
Let's
oh,
not
I
call
do
them out
remember.
anyway.
I do remember who it was.
Like, my personal take on this, I think notes are good. I think that means you're professional. I think hiding them is smart too. I'm not saying you should be like...
This guy had monitors at the front of the stage and just had notes taped to both monitors.
Is that one you
Audience
saw
could-
recently, or is that one you sent me a while back?
No, I just saw this one today. He has another.
But that one, they were flopping around from the air conditioner and shit, and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that one was a little much.
Yeah, I even what's his name? I just told you to watch
Yeah,
his
no,
special.
I was gonna say let's not call anybody out because I know a lot of comics get mad about that and we might hurt their feelings.
It was on Netflix.
I know, but people don't see it. The one that you showed me, that I know it is, and he's very spiritual now.
Yeah.
But he had black notes with white lettering towards
Yeah.
the front of the stage. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I even remember having a conversation with a comic that's pretty good. And he said something about somebody having notes. And he goes, I just can't, you can't call yourself a headliner and have notes. And I was like, Greg Fitzsimmons had them spread all over the fucking stage. Like, when you're close up, if you're tall enough, you could, like, Brandy probably couldn't see him, but Brandon and I could see him. Because we're both about the same exact size, actually. So, I'm joking. He's not that much taller. Our wieners are close. We don't smush them. But no, for real, like, I was trying to keep a straight face for all that. Height-wise, though, like, we really are, we can see the stage and other people can't. And I bet Greg just kind of sat down and was like, yeah, you can barely see it, it's fine. But he put on a fucking great show, and nobody that's not looking for him fucking notices. And it's like, okay, yes, you could memorize every single joke you've had and stand in front of the mirror and fucking do memory exercises and go, after this joke, or you could even write your set out to where it's so perfect that this joke has to go after this one. Or you could just be Theo Vaughn and just be weird. Or you could do anything in the middle. Or you could have notes. I think all of them are fine. I think the most efficient for most people with normal memory for memorizing an hour and also refreshing your material is having notes, because your material is going to be better if you're constantly tinkering until it's right. Like talking to John Carden about it when he was like, don't put jokes on the back burner, like hammer them out. Like if you think the joke's okay, it's just not great, don't swap it out for something, make it a great joke. And then the race car analogy, just like, hey, your jokes are a race car. Anything that doesn't have to be there, get rid of it. Shorten my 15 minutes to 13 minutes. Like the same exact jokes, 15 minutes is now 13 minutes. That means I can add another joke.
Yeah.
That means I can add 2 jokes probably. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Not only do I get more laughs in a set if I do that, but like it makes the jokes just better. People don't get bored with you. I'm just saying, like if somebody told me that Dave Attell, was that your stomach?
Yeah, it was.
If somebody told me Dave Attell never does a show with notes, I would believe them. If they say he never does a show without notes, I would also believe them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think any different either way of Dave Attell.
Right.
And he's like comedy Jesus. Like it's about as high as it gets. Him and who would be like Dave Chappelle, Dave Attell. Dude, we should change your name to Dave.
They're killing it. The Daves are killing it.
Dave Smith's doing okay. He's not quite there yet.
He's doing all right.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
But he's no Chappelle.
True.
But honestly, if I had to go see one live right now just for laughs, not to say I saw him, I would probably prefer Dave Smith just because I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just going to laugh and have fun.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to learn anything about culture and racism and George Floyd and stuff. That's sad. Did you see the one Dave Chappelle did at his house with the George Floyd thing?
I don't know.
It was like however long the cop's knee was on George Floyd's neck was the name of the special.
Yeah.
It was like, that was the first one where I go, this is definitely real. This is
That's
not
one
a
where
guy,
everybody's
like-
outside with masks. Yeah.
But that one, at first I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And then I was like, no, that one's real and serious and whatever. But like, the moment a comic starts taking themselves seriously,
He had David Letterman was with him.
he did a thing at the same place, like in the same setting. I don't know if it was on the same show.
Oh.
It might have been like the intro or the finishing
Okay,
up.
yeah.
It might have been like a wrap-up thing. I do know him and David Letterman talked about it at that same location in the same, everything looked the same, so
Yeah,
probably.
okay.
But no, what I'm saying is like, I love that he's doing that. I think it's great. I don't want to watch it. Like, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
would not
I
wanna-
think now.
I think the microphone's flipped upside down. You're good.
I think that I think that the Chappelle Show is still probably one of the greatest sketch shows of all time.
I think it is.
I think that Dave Chappelle is probably one of the most influential comedians of all time.
I agree. And he's black. Did you know
I
that?
also think that now he's probably the greatest public speaker.
Right. But which again, I don't dislike any of that. I just like. I never thought about it until I said Dave Smith versus Dave Chappelle. But like, because I'm not a Dave Smith fan. I'm Dave Smith. I'm just neutral. Like I'm not like if he wanted a tattoo, I'd be stoked.
Yeah.
But I'm not like. I'm not following him looking for when he's going to be 3 or 4 hours from here.
Yeah.
If I see he's in Oklahoma City, I'm going. Dave Chappelle, I think I would just to know that I got to see Dave Chappelle while he's alive and doing his thing. I would probably like buy tickets if he was in OKC and it was something I could go to, or Dallas and it was something I could go to. But I wouldn't travel very far for either one of them. Where Dave Chappelle doing comedy, I would fucking fly to Kentucky. Like, I would just, wherever the place is, which is either really far or really close to here. And we know I'm good with geography, so it's...
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Is Kentucky, like, in the middle of the country? It's not by the ocean.
We are close to the middle of the country. Kansas is the middle of the country.
Kansas is right above us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kentucky's not even a bordering state.
Okay. Where's it at? South?
East.
East, okay. Kentucky? I thought they were known for bluegrass.
They are. East of here.
Really?
Yes.
Like up?
No, east, not north.
Okay, like that way?
East.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You know where
Hold on.
Atlanta is?
It's in Georgia.
It's east of here.
Oh, I consider Atlanta the South. Dude, at some point, at some point I'm going to know, and it's going to be funny to fuck with you, but right now, I do know where Atlanta's at, because
Kentucky's north of that.
Damn, it is, isn't it? I wouldn't.
Tennessee, Kentucky.
I believe you. I totally believe you, but I have no idea. I couldn't check that without a map. Like, I don't. Yeah. Now, if you said Florida's over there I can see Florida in my head because it looks kind of funny, but I can't see which side of the map it's on. I think it's down here. Okay, if we're looking at the map, right? Mm-hmm. Florida? Mm-hmm. New York and shit? Mm-hmm. Wyoming, Montana?
Depending on how big your map is,
It's pretty big. Well, I'll put it in context. California. California.
There you go.
Yeah. Arizona.
No.
Nevada.
No.
Oregon. Pacific Northwest of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay, Oregon
like
and...
Oregon, Washington.
yeah. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Texas. Mm-hmm. Colorado.
Yeah. I don't feel like you went far enough. I feel like you're still in New Mexico, but yeah.
Okay. New Mexico.
New Mexico.
This is a fun game.
What's one over from New Mexico?
Yeah, it is. Old Mexico. No, real shit. Okay. Next to New Mexico. Hold on. I think I can do this. New Mexico. Utah.
No.
Arizona.
Yes.
Same thing. They're not different. They're the same state. Nobody can tell. The difference is the people. Mormons, not Mormons. That's the only difference. Yeah. And also like a lot of other things. But other than all the things.
Other than everything else. Exactly.
I think the landscape looks very similar.
They're both United States.
That's true. They're both united and they are states. And they have a lot of those things that look like they would be a wallpaper on like an Apple computer, like the arches and where the water had, and it made like ravines or something, and there's layers and they look all pretty, and you want to go hike through it. Whew. Get you an Apple computer. You'll know what I'm talking about. So Apple computers use Yosemite National Park as like their wooded, pretty backgrounds, and then they use either Utah or Arizona, and nobody can tell the difference, as they're like almost desert but beautiful hiking places. Like everything's like, now this is where I'm being serious. Everything's tan, kind of looks like Red Rock Canyon, but like more tan, and it's very deserty, but it's also like a good place to get your arm stuck when you're that guy from that 38 Hours or whatever that movie was called, where his arm was stuck, and the whole movie is his arm stuck. The entire movie. Whoever fucking pitched that was a really good salesman. We're going to take a guy for 38 hours with his arm like this. The whole fucking movie's just that. Have you seen it?
I've not watched
It's
it.
a good movie.
I've not watched it.
Let me tell you the whole story. Guy's hiking, arm gets crushed. That's 30 seconds in. An hour and 30 minutes later, his arm's still crushed. He's trying to saw his arm off. There's a whole thing. It's, I think it was half shot on a GoPro. Oh, God. That's Sneezy Stompy, I think. Yeah, he's not talking to a person. That's why I said we should shoot one with our back to the door.
Yeah.
So we could just... Bruh. So, homelessness and mental illness, am I right?
They seem to go hand in hand.
Have you ever noticed that when comedians talk about the quality of a city, like they're like, man, Los Angeles has gone to shit, or Los Angeles is doing good, or any city, they're literally only focused on the number of homeless people they see. That's their reference for every fucking podcast I've heard where there's two comedians talking about San Francisco's a little crazy, or Dallas is a little crazy, or whatever. It's always, well, they used to have a lot of homeless people, they have a lot of homeless people, or they don't have a lot of homeless people. Why? Aren't there other factors to like a town sucking?
Yeah.
I think that wasn't too bad.
If we had 0 homeless people in this town, it would still be shit.
If we had 0 homeless people in this town, I don't think it would be any different. Like, I don't think anybody would drive through and be like, this. I think if you added 100 homeless people, nobody's opinion would change either.
Right.
I think they have no bearing on people's opinions. That being said, you just insulted my city, dog. Here's what I'm saying. We got the greatest tattoo shop comedy club that I've ever seen.
I agree with that.
I think everybody that's only seen one would also agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Our mayor came to one of my comedy shows. Now, by that I mean Israel and I were performing for homeless people that one of the ladies had no teeth and was trying to bite her own ear with her gums. And we were telling jokes while nice people fed them food because we thought we were being charitable by nourishing their souls with humor. But did I tell you, I told you the Mormon dude introduced me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go into more details on the podcast just because I think it's fun. I have a bit about Mormons that I'm trying to rework out. It's an older bit.
Yep.
I wanted to do that, but with the crowd moving around, eating, and being schizophrenic, I figured the odds of them getting that joke and following me through a minute and a half of setup and little, that's funny, that's funny, that's funny, that's funny payoff. I didn't think that was going to work. If it was here and I could get Elder Duncan to introduce me, I would do that just because it was fun. But Israel and I were talking about it, and I said, hey, we don't have a host, so I'm just going to see if, rather than I just go up there cold and start doing jokes or you do the same, we could either you introduce me and then I introduce you. Like, you introduce me, I come up there and then I go, okay, now I'm going to give it back to Israel. Or I can get somebody to introduce us. So I went and I got Elder Duncan, and I was like, hey, dude, first off, I introduced myself by saying, hi, I'm Andrew. Do you have a moment to speak about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? And he goes, what's up, dude? Like, you would think he'd be like, well, that's kind of funny. He just kind of like, fuck. You could tell he wanted to say fuck. And then I go, so for real, I don't need to talk to you about Jesus. I'm sure you know. But we do need somebody to kind of introduce the show. You don't have to fully host. I just need you to walk up there, grab a microphone, say, hey, in just a minute, we're going to get ready to do a comedy show. These two guys came out here for whatever. You say whatever you want, and then say Andrew Patterson, and I'll walk up there. And if you don't want to say Patterson, just say Andrew, and I'll walk up there. And he's like, okay, I can do that. And you can tell it's like when you ask your kid to take the trash out and they were doing something fun. They're like, okay, because I have to. I went and told Israel about it, and I was like, I just thought it would be funny to ask him because he has to. And Israel understands their religion too. A lot of people don't. They kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like, you'd ask them to do anything that's not a sin, and they just kind of, they don't literally have to, but they kind of have to. It's kind of like, when you're dressed as an elder, you have to. So we just kept saying, you have to. And by the end of the fucking 10-minute period of us fucking around just talking shit, it was like, can I fuck your mother? You have to. It just kept growing to it started out like, hey, can you go get me a drink? Because he has to. And it led up to, watch me fuck your mom. I mean, you kind of have to. It was just so fucking weird. And then I have Elder Duncan introduce me. I go up there. He did great, by the way. That was the other thing. They really do give a fuck. Like they believe in God, and they believe the version of religion that they believe, and they believe if they let God down, it's not cool. So they really do. They're all in people, and I like that.
Yeah.
But he goes, hey, everybody, we got a comedy show for you today. We're about to start the show. I just want to get your attention up here and tell you these guys came to make you laugh. They're really funny. This first guy I've heard, he's great. His name's Andrew Patterson. Everybody put your hands together for Andrew. I was like, that's pretty good for a guy that's never done this. I go up there, and of course, as we all know how this goes, you knew before I got there. I eat shit for about 15 minutes. I sweat my dick off. I was literally drenched in sweat, and it was not warm at all in there. I got one guy, and he's enjoying the idea of comedy, but he couldn't hear everything I was saying. And I hit a punchline, and then I did the thing I do where, like, you've seen me bomb. Where I go, I'm going like, well, you know, because, let me think of a joke I could say that, like I said there. It'd be like I'm doing the mixed baby joke. I'm like, so basically, long story short, my wife walks in, I'm deep dicking this black bitch, got her fucking legs, and I'm just describing the punchline instead of letting it just be a punchline, trying to make that funny, which it works usually.
Yeah.
I kind of did that. Oh, it was the Inward Street joke. I was like, because it's North Word Street. It's pretty much spelled the same. I mean, technically it's different because you have a dot and a dash, but it's like inward. You know, the letters are there. And he goes, I just didn't understand what you said before that. And I was like, you want me to do it again? He goes, yeah, could you run it back? I just did the joke again. I just was like, okay.
This is while you're up here.
Yeah, I'm having conversations with people.
I'm so sad I didn't go.
Dude, it was so funny. And then I do my time. I fucking did my I don't know how much time. I think about 15 minutes. I do my time, which was hard. I wrote about 35 minutes worth of jokes because I knew exactly what I was getting into. And then I introduced Israel with the best intro I can give him. I think I did the classic, give him a hand because he can't do that because he only has one. But before I did that, I mentioned the prayer because this was the best part of the whole thing. Before we do all this, and you know me, not a big prayer guy, but we're doing the thing, and I'm respectful, and I join hands with everybody, and they put me next to Israel, and they said, can we all join hands in prayer? I was on edibles. I was high as balls. I go, can we join hands? I look at Israel, and I go, by the way, Israel doesn't have two hands. I got Asher on my right, Israel on my left. Israel's right hand is apparently the one that's fucked up. I would have never known.
Yeah.
But now I know, because he was here, and that shit was not there. So, dude, I hold his little thing. I'm holding his little kind of penis looking thing. And I'm fucking gripped out on it. And I go, this feels too weird, dude. And I'm like almost.
You should have just.
No, I did a little. I kind of like. I didn't like jerk it. I kind of pulled on it. I go, that's too weird. So we lock elbows like we kind of do one of these. And dude, I'm finally getting my shit together. And again, I took an edible for this show. I didn't take an edible like I'm trying to fucking relax. I took an edible like I need to be on drugs for this show. So I'm high. And I'm fucking locked arms with Israel. And the guy saying the prayer goes, Lord, thank you for allowing our hands and feet to carry us. And I go, and I'm literally like squeaking out of my mouth. And Israel's just like, stop it. I'm like, hands. You can't say hands. So when all this goes down, I fucking recover. We do the show.
He also doesn't have feet.
He doesn't have feet. He doesn't have, his legs come to here. His legs come right past his knees, and he's got a prosthesis on there. But anyway, dude. Okay, so we're doing that. And then when it's time to introduce him, I just told the story on stage. Nobody gave a fuck. I'm like, earlier when the gentleman was asked to pray, and we all joined hands, I tried to do that with my friend Israel, but we couldn't because he only has one. And I'm currently high on drugs, so I was trying to not laugh, and that was very entertaining. And then we got to the point in the prayer where he said hands and feet, and I realized my friend only has one of those two things, and he doesn't have plural of any of that shit. Anyway, Israel, like, I don't know how I said it, but I was like, he has he has one hand.
25%.
He's 25% of what you're saying. And we're thanking God for everybody but Israel.
Yeah.
On that note, there was a barber there that was dope as fuck. He drives around in a red, white, and blue, like American flag RV.
Yeah.
Across the whole fucking country. Just does homeless cuts and helps out where he can. Like just retired military, just wants to do that. Just fucking free haircuts for the homies. And there was a dude that looks exactly like Gary Busey there. And I mean, exactly. Nope, that's not Gary Busey.
Nick Nolte.
No, the redheaded guy that's on, you know that show that has a bunch of fucking L-list celebrities on it where people do dumb shit like Stupid Criminals or
Oh,
whatever?
yeah.
And they're mostly comedians like, Brian Callen used to be on it. He's too big for it now.
Yeah.
It's one of the redheaded guy on there that's not Gary Busey. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about.
Danny?
Yeah, Danny.
DeVouchy or something.
Yeah. He was a child star.
Yeah. Donna Bonaducci.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danny Bonaducci.
Looks exactly like that guy. Gets the haircut. Looks like that guy has thinner hair than I thought. But good cut. But this dude has like almost nothing on top. He's got like 7 random hairs. It was so fucking good though. Okay. We're over 30 minutes. We talked about, was this one our wives? We don't know what we talked about. This one was wild. This has been Matt and Andrew Make a Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Matt.
All right.